Good afternoon. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network, and we're in the pub on a Wednesday. What's going on? I hope you can all hear me. This is Let's Talk About It, and those of you who were in the session yesterday will know what today's topic is. But can you remember what I told you it would be? I think Shiny and April. This could be a test for you. Can you remember?
Do you want to know if the chairs are blue or the chairs
No,
are green?
no, nothing to. It's not really to do with yesterday's session. It's just I mentioned in yesterday's session what we would
Yeah,
be doing today. Can
yeah,
you?
we are going to talk because this is only the 17th of January. It's still time to talk about your Christmas and your New Year's and your what is it now again? Wait a minute. I forget always this name. For name. Your resolutions, New
Yeah.
Year's resolution, everything about 2018, and it's for me. It's not starting very well. Not for me, for the whole world, I think.
Okay, but resolutions, not solutions.
Okay,
Solutions.
resolution.
Yeah, solutions. The opposite of solutions is problems. Yeah, but resolutions is from to be resolute. Yeah, to be resolute about something, to decide on something, and to go for it. Resolutions are if you resolve to do something, to be resolute, or to resolve to do something. Oh, can't practice. So it's nothing to do with solutions for life problems. It's just about being resolute to do something, to resolve to change something. Okay, so we're not going to talk about Christmas because, as you say, it's January. Christmas was in December. We talked about Christmas so many times. But New Year, and I know that Natasha ran a couple of sessions on New Year resolutions and New Year, New Start. Marion mentioned it as well. But not all of you go to those sessions, so I thought, well, let's do yet another one. And first of all, I'd like to know what you did on New Year's Eve this year. So, what did you do on New Year's Eve? Of course, which was the. What date is New Year's Eve? Anybody?
What day?
What date? What is the date of New Year's
Oh,
Eve?
the date of
Yeah,
New Year's
date.
Eve, 31st, the
The
31st
31st
of
December.
December.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you could say the day. What was the day? But that's a bit. There's many days in the year, so that would cover 52 days. Let's see, what day was it? It was Sunday was the 31st of December, so it was a Sunday at midnight. So, can anybody share with us what they did? What were you doing on the 31st of December last year? Were you getting ready for New Year's Eve or were you getting ready for bed? Oh, Eleanor's crashed by the looks of it. Oh dear, it's going to be one of those
That is
sessions.
New. This is 2018. Everybody cross.
Yes. Well, Eleanor's had major problems with her graphics card, so it could be that she's trying to fix that. It was good that she was able to make it. I do say, if you're in here and if you can hear us and you can speak, just that's enough. It doesn't need to be fully rezzed, etc. Because I could see her perfectly well, but anyway. So, Shiny, I haven't heard you speak yet. Are you with us? You seem to be suffering from the effects of New Year. Shiny, hello. Okay, Shiny's gone. I don't know. AFK. so to speak.
Yeah, but I remember I saw her writing that she has got a tummy ache.
Oh,
So
okay,
did
I
I?
didn't see that. Thank you. Shiny, get well soon. If you're not feeling well, don't worry about missing anything. Oh, tummy ache. Okay,
Yeah, she
tummy
means
ache.
tummy ache, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, tummy ache. Oh, hope you feel better. Okay, so Nina, I think you missed the question. I've just been asking people what they were doing or what they did on New Year's Eve last year, because it is last year now, even though it's only a couple of weeks ago. April, can you remember what you were doing?
Now during the day, that was nothing. I was so lazy. I was uh, cleaning but I was lazy, but I had to clean the house. So the whole day during the day, it's the 31st of December, I just cleaned the house, and then in the evening, we didn't have any intention to go out or to do something special for 31st of December. First, we wanted to go to the fireworks, but it was so bad weather that I said no, no way. No way. I go out. I will stay at home and nothing and do nothing. And what did we eat at that evening? I think with Christmas we did something, but on the New Year's Eve, I can't even remember what did we eat, because my son went out with friends, and my daughter-in-law at home was at home with the little one and me. There were three of us, so if my son is not home, normally we didn't eat special. We just I think we just ate instant noodles. That's all.
Okay.
So,
Hi again.
Hi, Eleanor.
hey, Eleanor.
Come and join us. Come and join us.
It's loading. Ah, now I see the door.
Okay.
Oh
We
my
can see you
God.
perfectly well, so don't worry. As I said, you will see on the stream. So really, nothing special. I mean, did you stay up till midnight, April?
Yeah,
Okay.
we watched the TV. We were watching the TV until over midnight, because I remember I watched the fireworks on TV, and my grandson was with me, and we tried to make a selfie with me and my grandson, and as the background the fireworks on TV, but it wasn't very successful, that picture.
I can
But
imagine.
we just yeah, we just watched it on TV. That's all, because it was so bad weather. I don't know. In Germany, I think it was as bad as here. I think, right, Lynn?
It wasn't actually too bad New Year's Eve. We didn't. I mean, one of the things that's very popular in Germany and in Europe generally is fireworks, of course. Fireworks, and they get set off. You know, people set them off at midnight. So,
But in some villages, they were cancelled.
yeah,
They have cancelled the fireworks because it was too
it was too
many,
windy.
too windy. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it was too windy. But here, the weather wasn't actually too bad, so everybody was setting the fireworks off. There were what I would call organised displays, but there were also the local displays and families setting fireworks off in the street. And it actually started well before midnight, because where I live near Frankfurt, there's lots of different nationalities, and they seem to be celebrating New Year from where they came from the country they lived in or where they were born, rather than I mean, I don't do that. The first year I was in Germany, I was a little bit, well, when do I celebrate New Year? Do I celebrate it at midnight where I am in Germany, or an hour later, which would be in England? And we kind of did both, but now we've been here so long, I just celebrate the German New Year because that's where I am. It's New Year, 1 minute past midnight, where I am. But a lot of people were setting off fireworks at 9 o'clock in the evening, 3 o'clock in the morning. Even 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody, it must have been Americans, we decided, in our street, set off the biggest firecracker. It was such a loud bang. I was not happy because it woke me up. I was like, why can't you celebrate New Year where you are? So, April, because I know you have family in other countries, do you also celebrate New Year from there, or do you just celebrate the New Year where you're living?
Just where I live, because it was too early otherwise, Lind. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got already New Year's wishes from there.
From relatives.
I think,
yes.
6 o'clock? It's only 6 o'clock, I don't need it. we haven't celebrated yet, so that's why. Otherwise, you have to celebrate it from during the day already. I remember on New Year's Eve 2000 with the millennium, I stayed awake from the beginning of the that is an island in the east of New Zealand. I think the first place that from that moment until New York, I think, until the last one.
I think the 6 o'clock in the morning here was New York.
Yeah.
Idiots. I was so angry because I was like, why can't you set your fireworks off where you're living? Nobody cares about, what time it is in the country that your passport, that it says on your passport. You're here. New Year started 6 hours ago. Yeah, but the first country was, I think, a little island, and they, I guess, I don't mind people sending congratulations or Happy New Year greetings, etc. But I think Samoa or Tonga is the first country to get New Year, because we've got so many different time zones, of course, and I'm just looking. Yeah, Tonga got New Year using UK time at 10 o'clock in the morning. Then it travels. New Zealand next, Australia, Japan and South Korea was at 3 o'clock UK time, North Korea, then China, Philippines, Singapore. Indonesia was actually 5 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, 6 o'clock here and 5 o'clock UK, I think. Yeah?
That's
UK
right.
and here is 1 hour the difference.
That's right. And at midnight, United Kingdom, Germany was an hour before then, so I was celebrating at 11 o'clock UK time. But it meant that I could also go to bed before midnight UK time. Then afterwards, the last place to celebrate New Year, which is at noon, actually, so it obviously wasn't, they weren't from there, the ones that set the fireworks off at 6 o'clock in the morning, is Baker Island, Howland Island. They're outlying islands off the coast of the USA. So I suppose if you wanted to, you could celebrate New Year several times during the day, saying, oh, let's celebrate it for the Hawaiians now. Let's celebrate the Russian New Year. What time was it for you, Eleanor? Was it midnight and that was it, everything going? Or was there celebrations all through the day, depending on where people come from?
But I think it's not trouble because we are aging. This is my opinion. But of course, I had
But
to
you don't.
celebrate because of
No,
fireworks.
stop,
You simply,
stop. You don't celebrate New Year because you feel it ages you. Did I get that right?
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. And in particular, I have in between, between Christmas and New Year, my birthday, so I'm rather depressed.
Oh, bless. Now I can understand people not
Oh,
wanting to celebrate their birthday because they feel older. But I mean, you know me, I love Christmas, I love New Year. And even though I wasn't feeling particularly, um, I had a very bad back post Christmas. After Christmas Day, my back went. So I wasn't feeling particularly lively or in a celebratory
I
mood
see
at midnight.
back pains.
But I still went outside with my sparklers, glass of brandy. I deliberately didn't take painkillers just so I could have a glass of brandy. How sad is that?
Yes, that's it. I did buy a bottle of wine.
Ah, you
So it
see,
was
you
for
did
the, yeah.
celebrate. And did you
But
stay up
I
until
prepared my
midnight?
book.
Did,
Sorry?
did you stay up until midnight to see the new year in?
Uh, that is what I wanted to mention. You have no choice because of fireworks.
Ah,
Even if you want, yeah, it's too noisy. And in my neighborhood, I can see them. So they are lovely. And of course, I slept longer. It ended
oh, you had a lion,
about,
yeah? You had a lion.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I would have had a lion, but I think you missed it. As I explained earlier, somebody in our street let off a really loud banger at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that woke me up. It woke everybody. It woke Leica up. So we ended up getting up and going out for a walk on New Year's morning. So, but no, the weather wasn't too bad for us. The fireworks were as usual, noisy and bright, and the whole area stank of cordite. All that. But I don't do fireworks. I do sparklers. Now, do you know what a sparkler is?
Sparkler. No, no.
Sparklers. Very
I
dangerous things. April, could you explain
Oh,
to Eleanor what sparklers are?
Isn't it that one that you have to take in your hand with
You
your fingers?
hold. Yep.
You
Yeah.
hold that in your hands, and it gives that kind of fire. And if it comes to your skin, it is quite painful, I think.
Well, it can burn
You
a hole
hold
through
them,
your
yeah.
clothes as well. That's happened to me more than once. Yes, you have to be very careful. They burn at a ridiculously high temperature with iron filings. There's like a metal stick, and there's iron filings at the tip of the stick, and you set fire to them so they sparkle. And you wave them about, and we call them sparklers. Um, but you have to be really careful that you don't hurt yourself. I think more people get burnt by sparklers than any other firework. And you think about it, you're holding it at arm's length. That's the instructions is hold at arm's length. And you think, hang on, I'm holding something that is thousands of degrees hot. It's like a welder's torch without any protective gear on. Am I crazy? But they're pretty. They're pretty and they're not noisy. I don't like fireworks because I have a dog. And dogs are
this is a big problem.
frightened
For
of the
many
noise.
dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
But Munia, as you know, was a rather small doggy, but she wasn't afraid. But her mom was always awfully afraid, and even big dogs are seriously frightened. It's. I have read that a frightened dog got stuck in a fence, and it hurt itself. It was serious. It lasted for a long time. It was very difficult to help the poor doggy. So I think it's a pleasure we could get rid of, but of course there are many people who are fans of it.
That's the thing. I mean, there's every year, uh, not just at New Year in the UK, but of course we have Bonfire Night as well in November. And every year people call for private firework parties to be banned and it only to be run by professionals because it is dangerous. And there's always fires, there are always injuries. But
The same here, yeah. Cut fingers, lost eyesight, and sometimes it's really tragic. And in particular, there are people, adults, and in particular children, that buy fireworks from illegal sources. They may be cheaper, but they are really dangerous.
that's right, yeah. I
Even
mean, you
if
buy them
not,
on the internet at your peril. Now, they are regulated. I don't know if they're regulated in your country, but there are always ways of getting around regulations. Shiny
yeah,
wrote
there
something.
are regulations, of course, but you know, people do what they do.
Exactly. You're not meant to throw them at people, but people throw. You're not meant to throw them under cars. But I mean, a week after New Year, we were walking in town, and somebody threw a banger, what we call a banger. So there are sparklers. They're silent but pretty sparkly things. Bangers are. There's nothing pretty about them. They just make a loud bang. And somebody threw one down a drain. Okay, and if you throw them down a drain, the explosion, I'm not kidding you, made me jump out of my skin. I thought there'd been a bomb. It's like, what? And it was just some idiot with a spare, just threw it down a drain and it's just the most amazing noise. But nobody got hurt, but it is, I was like, oh, come on, guys, it's a week after New Year. Have you not burnt them all up yet? Shiny wrote something interesting. We always prepare a bucket with a C, Shiny, of water when we play with them. Yes, it's always good to have a bucket of water when you're setting off fireworks, and you never go back to a firework that you have lit, even if it doesn't go off. You leave it until the next day and then throw water over it. You can't be too careful with them. Now, I mentioned the temperature that sparklers burn at. Anybody got any idea of what temperature a sparkler reaches? Do you want to do a quick Google or have a guess? What temperature? Remember, you hold it in
No
your
idea.
hand. You hold it in your hand. What temperature do you think you're holding in your hand?
100
100? Okay,
Celsius? Or do you
1,000.
think
Shiny? Any advance on 1,000?
Fahrenheit?
Any advance on 1,000? Okay, it's actually 2,000 degrees. Okay? 2,000 degrees, yeah. And we give them to our children. It's crazy when you think about it. But I suppose sparklers came into being at a time when health and safety wasn't quite so vigorous, shall we say, as it is today. They probably wouldn't pass health and safety standards today, but they are something that's traditional, and we all know that it's very difficult to give up a tradition. Okay, so Nina, you're sitting there very quietly, and I hope it doesn't mean you haven't got voice. What were you doing?
I have voice.
Hey, awesome. How did you celebrate your New Year? With fireworks? With a glass of brandy or champagne? What did you do?
No.
Or in bed?
About my celebration, I just had a normal day like the others. So this year, I couldn't celebrate anything because my pet was really sick.
Oh,
So you can understand.
yeah,
I,
absolutely.
uh,
Is he all right?
I have no, because I have no good idea about it because these days, I am really sad because my little pet passed away last
Oh,
Sunday. So I'm
oh,
trying to come back and the normal and keep glad day by day. And I was without my computer as well.
oh! I'm sorry
So
to hear that. Oh, that's a horrible way to start the
yeah,
year. Oh.
yeah. So I couldn't celebrate something
No,
in
no,
this
I can
year.
understand that. You don't feel like it, so that's
Yeah,
perfectly understandable. Oh, there's nothing
yeah. Thank
worse.
you.
Mm.
But now it's okay.
Yeah, well, we learn to overcome the initial grief, but it's always sad. You always have that sad feeling. But then you can also think about all the lovely times you had and all the love your
I
pet gave you.
would you like say something about pets,
Hmm.
about fireworks?
Yes,
You
they
can.
are
It,
not. They're not the best
yeah, it's
thing to
not
have
good
together.
for.
No, I
Okay.
know.
Yeah, but you can educate when he was really young, like a dog, uh, to hitting the fireworks like some normal, offering some pieces of food while you explode the firework, and uh, I think you understand what I mean. So when the New Year and commemoration celebration New Year, it is normal for the pets because uh, since the when he was young, you training his ear for custom made for the noise. It's like a training
Yeah,
for
what
pets.
we'd say is you desensitize them.
Sensitize them.
Desensitize.
Desensitize.
Yeah, you can
Sensitize the.
desensitize
Oh
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I agree. I
Yeah.
mean, we're very lucky. Leica doesn't react too badly to fireworks. For example, in town, when somebody let off that banger, she was with us and she didn't react. It was me that jumped out of my skin. I think she was just walking along thinking, the stupid humans. However, it's so intense at New Year. We always keep her inside. We go outside to look at the fireworks and set off our sparklers, but we wouldn't take her out with us because it's too much. It's like being in a war zone. It
Yeah,
truly
I
is.
don't like
No.
that. Yeah, I don't like.
It's
It's really
pretty. I
noisy.
can understand why people do it, but sometimes I also think, oh, that pollution, all that money
Yeah,
wasted.
yeah. I can understand. I understand you because past New Year and other day, po again. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, literally. I mean, I love living in multicultural um, society, but it does mean that you end up having New Year celebrations from, as we were saying, like 11 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock the next
Yeah,
morning. We just
yeah.
celebrate New Year at New Year wherever we are. If we're in the UK, we celebrate it at midnight UK time. If we're in Germany, midnight German time. We don't spread it out.
Yeah, here there are fireworks for 3 years before, during, and after
And after,
the New
yeah,
Year.
yeah, that's it.
Oh, it's so crazy for me. So crazy.
That, as I say, it's a difficult thing to say. Oh, they should be banned. I feel I'm getting old when I think they should be banned. It's ridiculous. Because I know that as a kid, I just loved it. I loved the whole thing. Staying up till midnight, getting a glass of champagne, watching the fireworks. Except there weren't as many
Why?
fireworks when I was growing up. It was the millennium that brought fireworks to the UK. The UK before, you might have had some indoor fireworks which were just fun and there was no noise, etc. But you didn't have big firework displays to celebrate New Year. The millennium changed that, and now, of course, every city competes to have the best firework display. It must cost a
Oh,
fortune.
oh yeah, I see.
I
Yeah.
think April is right. It's just an excuse to go crazy. Absolutely. Reem, what about you? I know that you have a different New Year, but did you celebrate 2018? or the end of 2017?
Yes, hello. Hello. Indeed, no, we don't celebrate, but I want to watch firework in TV. It's nice to see fireworks. I decide to still at midnight to see, but but in this day, my children was with my mother outside, and it is the house is so quiet, and I was so tired and
You
go
fell
to sleep.
asleep. Okay, when you said your children were with your mother outside, do you mean outside or away from home?
Away from home.
Away from home. Okay. I had your mother and your children out in the street.
No.
Away from home. Okay.
Away from
Or you could just say my children were staying with my mother. Yeah.
Yes. But for to celebrate as your country time of your country, it's I think it is crazy, as you said, either on 6 o'clock or on 5 o'clock.
Yes.
But,
and some of them even when it's not dark yet. I mean.
Oh yeah, the time change. The time is sometimes sometimes it's close, but sometimes it's very long. I think it is crazy.
True. I mean, to me, New Year, celebrating New Year, it is a time to get together with friends and family, and another excuse to phone them up and say Happy New Year, and just family gatherings. Firework displays are fun, but they're not really that great for me because of I have to worry about throwing a party. You can throw a party to celebrate as well, of course. And I enjoy the countdown. Do you know what I mean by the countdown?
What?
The countdown. Elinor, what do I mean when I say I enjoy the countdown?
Just before counting every minute and second before.
Not the minutes. I haven't got the patience to count the minutes.
Yeah.
That's it, Nina.
Exactly.
I was about to ask, from when do you start the countdown at New Year? I start it from 10. For some reason, you've got the television on. I used to wait for Big Ben, because when I was in the UK, but now we tune into Berlin, and Berlin does the countdown, and they do it from 10 as well. 10, 9, 8.
9, 8. Happy New Year!
Yeah, that's it. Happy New Year! Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, it's good.
Okay, so you do need to be able to count backwards if you go to the UK. Shiny, what about you? Oh yes, the ball drops at New Year as well. That's right. Is it in Times Square? They have this big glittery ball and it drops.
But from which numbers is that? I was thinking now, because I don't know.
Good
Is it from the? Yeah, because from 100 maybe? I don't know, because it's quite high, yeah? It's quite high.
Yeah, what is the countdown? Let's have a look. The New Year's countdown and ball drop. It sounds terrible, really, doesn't it? Anatomically speaking, that sounds very rude. But anyway. Wish you could be in Times Square to see the ball drop. Okay, you can watch it on television, of course. Oh gosh, they've got a countdown timer already. 348 days, 11 hours, 15 minutes and 12 seconds till the next ball drop. That's a long countdown.
I remember that music. It's the final countdown.
Yeah. It's the final countdown.
Countdown.
Ah, I'm just trying to. Oh yes, it's actually is crystals. That's why it's so shiny. But I can't see where anybody who says when it starts counting down. But I think the people generally at a party in America, from watching Friends episodes, they also start from 10. Okay, so yes, the ball, Shiny. The ball is the New Year's Eve ball in America, in New York. Okay, and it's a famous mark of the same way that Big Ben is used to mark midnight in London. This ball is used in Times Square to mark New Year in that part of America, because of course in London it's the whole of the UK, but in America the different states also, some of them have different time zones. It's such a big country, but in the in that state and in that part of America they use the ball drops literally. Shiny, did you celebrate New Year, or did you just go to bed with a hot water bottle and a good book? Can you speak, Shiny? I know. Are you okay now?
Yes.
You feeling okay?
I'm feeling better now. Thank
Good.
you. Not really celebrate New Year, but instead I went mountain climbing,
Wow!
and the
Awesome!
maybe because I almost died there. Not really died there because it was snowing, and the road, you know, the snow.
You weren't
were
in your
everywhere.
flip-flops, were you?
No,
Good.
but because I don't have that equipment, you know. If you put that on your shoes, and you can walk on snow. I don't know how to say that in like
Oh,
spike,
there are
but
different kinds of things. You can have snowshoes, but if you're mountain climbing, you can't climb in snowshoes. So you'd need to have good walking boots with crampons,
yes.
ice crampons, yeah. Or you should always have the right equipment. Although, have you told Aladdin that it was snowing? Because he did go to the mountains to find snow, and I believe he didn't actually manage to find any. He'll be very jealous.
Because you know, people seldom go to mountain climbing during New Year because they want. I mean, they don't celebrate it in that way. But anyway, there's a gentleman. I don't know. He say he tried to exhaust me because I how to say I started going hiking last year, and they were amazed by how to say I'm a beginner, but they say I have so many energy to go
So
everywhere. I
much
don't know.
energy, yeah? You're very energetic. Wow, good for you. You go,
Yeah,
girl.
because okay, and so I never say tired because it's not about tired. I just want to finish, you know, up to the top of the mountain, and then go down and then climb another mountain. I just want to do it, and that's it. I don't try to achieve anything, and then there is I say gentleman because he's a professor in college, and he said no way he was going to exhaust me, so he brought me to a how to say a mountain, but it's vertical, so I
Right.
have to use my hands
Okay.
to climb
Well,
that
you can always say
mountain.
no. If somebody takes me to a vertical cliff and says, "Okay, let's go climbing," I go, "No, bye. I'll just sit here and I'll watch you." Wow.
And actually, it's three mountains like that. That not just one. So he really tried to,
Kill
let
you.
me try it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, don't you let anybody do that to you. No, I mean, I do. Pushing yourself is one thing, but pushing yourself into a dangerous situation, because you need to have your wits about you when you're climbing. And if you climb tired, if you exhaust yourself, that's when you make mistakes and break things or even have fatal accidents. So always make sure you get the right equipment. I can't stress that enough. I've done climbing, I've done mountain climbing. I don't enjoy it enough to want to do it for New Year though. But it sounds like an adventure.
Actually, he took several pictures of me. Do you want to see it?
I want to see them. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. And how can I show you that?
Well, exactly. That's the trick. Can you put them on Flickr?
I deleted a Flickr my account
Oh,
because I couldn't remember the password, so I just delete the account and try to make another way to, I don't know.
that's difficult. Yes, because the thing is, to share it, you have to store it. You could put it on Facebook and then just show it to friends and family, because I think I'm in your friends list on Facebook.
I don't have a account in Facebook.
Okay,
but,
then you
I
could
have
try sharing
Twitter
it in
account.
Discord. But make sure it's a small image, because there's a limit on the size you can upload. And again, you can share it privately with me or to the group. Okay? It's up to you.
It's okay because I let him, take my picture of my back. I mean,
Oh, okay,
I
so
don't
it
want
doesn't
to
show your
scare
face,
people.
then do share it on Discord.
Yeah.
You can do that, okay? Or in live chat as well, if you try to share it in live chat. But make sure it's a small image. Don't share the original image. Decrease it to about 600 width, yeah? And then it should share okay. But if you wanted to share it here, you'd have to share the link. You can't upload it into... no, that's not strictly true. If it's the right size, you could create a picture in Kitely from it, but you'd have to make sure it's the right size, create the picture, and then share that, okay? A little bit like sharing any image or text. But you'd have to build, upload picture, and then share it with the group, okay? Anyway, you play with that. I think the limit of the width to share in Kitely is something like 1200 width. So you would have to edit the original picture, I think, depending what was shared with you. Okay. Now I'm just looking at Nina. Nina shared a link, and I haven't managed to open it yet. Let's have a look. Novo no Mundo. No, it won't open. Ah, yes, there you go. Oh, that looks like fun. Oh, over the sea. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a fireworks display once not for New Year, it was the Brighton Festival in Brighton, and they do fireworks displays out at sea. It would have been great, but it was really foggy. Best fireworks display I ever went to, though, was in Spain, at Las Fallas in Valencia, and that was amazing. I've never seen fireworks that can create a heart I mean, there were fireworks and they were exploding, and they turned. It was like something Gandalf would do. You know, it was like magic. I was like, woo! Lovely.
I would like to commemorate my New Year like a Chinese. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful and
Yes.
calm. So calm.
Well, as I said, everybody celebrates different New Years as well,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
because we in the West we do tend to say New Year's Eve as if everybody's celebrating all around the world, but not necessarily. Um, there are, let me see, the Chinese New Year, which you just mentioned, Nina, which is also the Spring Festival. And they do lots of lanterns. I like that as well. And those floating and the lanterns on the water too. That's really lovely. And then there's Nowruz, which is the Persian calendar. They're celebrated by many different
Lunar
religions and
calendar.
cultures as well. Is it Nowruz? Nowruz? And then there are people who use what we call the Julian calendar. There's the Gregorian and the Julian calendar. People who use the older calendar, they celebrate New Year about a week after. There's even a place in the UK that celebrates New Year using the old calendar. So what we called the old New Year.
May I explain things to April?
Yes, indeed.
It's getting complicated. There was on Facebook. There was an announcement posted by Lucian Petrescu. He is an early modern scholar who lives in Paris. He was organizing a New Year's Eve party, and friends of friends were also invited, and this was a serious invitation. The party was very nice, and Annette invited me in the sense that she would have a room for me, so we could come together, but it was too late. You know, you have to book a ticket and so on.
Ah,
But yeah, it would be.
they would have made you stay
double,
up,
but
and
they are,
you would have had to stay up and celebrate it, though, and
yeah,
not philosophize
but
about
I
being
would
a year
like.
older and closer to death. That would be a party pooper.
uh,
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we often get asked to parties by friends, especially if we're in Germany, because in Germany it's not called New Year, by the way, it's called Silvester, and they celebrate Sylvester, and so you get invited to Sylvester parties. But because of Leica, we always turn them down. We went once, but it was no fun for her at all, and we said, well, okay, we're not doing that again. So we just we stay at home and we have a small celebration at home with Leica, and then we go to bed. You see, I'd say Sylvester there, but it's Sylvester.
no, Sylvester is like V in German.
Yeah,
The
that's right. Yeah,
pronunciation
no,
is
I
same.
get
It's
that.
just Polish spelling. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so we've run out of time. Has anybody else got something they would like to share or have a question they'd like to ask before we finish? Any
Yeah,
idea?
about hiking and climbing,
Yes.
Celine. I just if I just go to the mountain, just walking, is that hiking or is that climbing?
Okay,
And is it
it depends what you do.
yes?
So if you go to the mountains, say if you go in the UK into Wales to the Preseli Mountains, remember the Preseli Mountains? We were talking about them in the previous session, then you can go hiking in the mountains. That would indicate to me that you are walking along a path. Might be a steep path, but it's a path. If you go hiking and climbing in the Preseli Mountains, that means you're going to be walking along the path, and then you're going to be doing what it sounds like Shiny did, climbing up cliffs, maybe with ropes, hopefully with the right equipment on, a helmet, etc. Hiking doesn't necessarily involve climbing. Climbing, though, to me would be something pretty vertical, not something you can walk up, something you have to use your hands, your knees, your feet, getting into your fingers into cracks and hauling yourself up a cliff face. That is climbing. Hiking is walking along a path, but you're on your 2 feet. You don't need to scramble along.
And it doesn't necessarily to be in the mountain to hike.
No, I go hiking in the moors. The moors are very
In the
flat.
moors?
The moors.
So if I just go to the mountain, do I have to go? I just go to the mountain, not really for hiking, it's just for a walk, for a walk.
Well, then it's not hiking; it's walking. Hiking involves something much more strenuous. I go for a walk every day, twice a day with Laika. It's not hiking. I'm on paths. I'm walking at a nice, reasonable pace. When you go hiking, it indicates something more strenuous. Okay?
More what means
strenuous? Strenuous. Along, in nature. Okay, you can go for a walk anywhere. You can go for a walk through a park. You wouldn't go hiking through a park unless it was the national park with forests and mountains and So if I go to the local park, I'm going for a walk. If I go hiking, I'd be going to the moors or the mountains or the hills, and I'd be going for something like, instead of an hour, 3 or 4 hours. Okay.
So can you hike near the sea, at the sea? No.
You can hike along the cliffs, yes. But if you're just
along the cliff,
if you're eating ice cream and candy floss and seaside rock, then you're walking. You're not hiking. Hiking is like trekking or backpacking. Okay, it indicates a destination and a few hours of strenuous exercise.
you need a backpack.
yeah, but you certainly need good footwear, not your flip-flops. But at some point they cross over, of course. And then people can argue, that wasn't a hike, that was a gentle walk. Okay. I'll try and put something together for you, April.
Yeah, because in the past, for me, climbing is if I go to the mountain, I said, I can say I climbed the mountain, but now with all the other new terms of sport or activities, and then I think, it is one is not the other. There is one or the other, not the same.
I mean, if you had ropes and you were going up a very steep incline, and you needed to use your feet and your fingers to find a way up this slope, then you were climbing. If you were just walking on your 2 feet, you were hiking. Okay?
Okay.
I'll write a note down to myself. I've got a lot of notes, so as you know, don't hold your breath, but I'll try and put hiking, walking, climbing versus walking, because they are terms that you might want to use in a specific way. That's very true. Okay. So it sounds like Shiny went climbing, but you, April, went walking. hiking, not walking.
Yeah, hiking maybe, yes.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for coming, everybody. And any ideas for a topic next week? Anything you would like to discuss? You know me, I'm always open to suggestions. Otherwise, I'll just turn up with something for you to talk about. You're welcome, Reem. Well, if you have any ideas, just post it in Virtual Welders group on the forum. And even if we don't do it next week, we can cover different topics as we go through the year. Okay, but it's lovely to be back, and nice to see you all safe and sound, Shiny, and hopefully fit next week. Take care then. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.